We all share the dream of stepping into the backyard to gather fresh eggs and become truly self-sufficient. But reality quickly hits in the form of a $25 bag of commercial feed that drains your wallet week after week. Do you think it is actually possible to raise a productive flock without spending a single dime on food? We are breaking this zero-cost system down into 7 steps, and step 7 is the deep winter hack that will completely blow your mind. Now let us kick things off with step 1, which is establishing the foundation of our zero-cost system, the 2x3 meter mobile tractor. The traditional way of raising chickens involves locking them in a stationary run and pouring expensive grain into a fixed trough, which is exactly what we are moving away from. Instead, you need to think of your flock as a gasless tilling machine, and the mobile tractor is how you steer it. For a standard backyard flock of about 6 to 10 birds, you will want to construct a bottomless pen that is exactly 2x3 meters, giving you 6 square meters of prime foraging space. This setup requires a highly disciplined daily rotation. Every single morning, you must pull this structure exactly 1 length forward onto a fresh patch of pasture. By moving them daily, you are instantly unlocking a massive natural buffet. Your chickens will actively harvest fresh grass blades, weed seeds, and ground-dwelling insects, which immediately slashes your feed dependency by a significant margin. The birds do the harvesting, and in return, they leave behind perfectly distributed, nitrogen-rich fertilizer. However, you have to be extremely careful with your design. I learned the importance of material selection the hard way during my first year. I built my very first mobile tractor out of thick, heavy-duty, pressure-treated lumber, thinking it needed to withstand a hurricane. It was so incredibly heavy that I actually pulled a muscle in my shoulder just trying to drag it across the damp morning grass. A common mistake is building a structure that is simply too heavy for one person to move comfortably on their own. If the tractor feels like an intense gym workout every time you touch it, you are inevitably going to skip days. When you skip days, the chickens will aggressively overgraze that specific spot until it turns into bare dirt. The manure buildup becomes toxic to the soil, and the entire self-sustaining cycle completely collapses. Keep the frame lightweight, use aluminum or thin PVC if necessary, and make sure it glides effortlessly over your lawn. Since we are relying on the birds to actively hunt for their own meals, step 2 is selecting the ultimate foraging heritage breeds. You can build the absolute perfect lightweight tractor, but if you put the wrong workforce inside it, your entire feed-saving strategy will fail. Modern commercial hybrid layers have been genetically bred over decades to do exactly one thing, which is stand stationary at a commercial feeder and rapidly convert high-protein grain into daily eggs. If you place a typical factory farm hybrid onto fresh grass, they will often just sit near the empty trough, looking at you and waiting for their breakfast to be delivered. To make this zero-cost system work, you have to pivot exclusively to active heritage breeds. I am talking about birds with deeply ingrained survival instincts, such as brown leghorns, Rhode Island Reds, or Plymouth Rocks. When you place these traditional breeds inside the mobile environment, their ancestral habits immediately take over. Instead of waiting for a handout, they will spend roughly 70 to 80% of their waking hours aggressively scratching the earth. They act as relentless hunters, turning over leaves and tearing through the topsoil to uncover hidden grubs, worms, and essential minerals. They are biologically programmed to seek out their own calories, which is the exact behavioral trait you must leverage to keep your ongoing maintenance costs down to zero. These birds are naturally resilient, highly alert to predators, and intrinsically motivated to work for their keep. The biggest mistake beginners make is buying whatever discounted chicks are available at the local farm store without researching their specific foraging capabilities. If you buy lazy, heavy-breasted meat birds or strictly commercial layers, you will be forced to supplement their diet with expensive bagged feed just to keep them alive and producing. You must perfectly align the genetics of your flock with the demands of a pasture-based lifestyle, ensuring they have the physical energy and the natural drive to hustle for their daily sustenance. While foraging in the mobile tractor provides essential vitamins and minerals from fresh grass, laying hens require a massive amount of dense protein to produce strong, healthy eggs consistently. This brings us to step 3, which is constructing the 5-gallon Black Soldier Fly Larvae bioreactor. You really need to think of this not as a simple bug farm, but as a magic trash can that operates as a high-efficiency biological factory, manufacturing a 40% protein feed entirely for free. To build this setup, you only need a standard 5-gallon plastic bucket equipped with a tight-fitting lid to keep out heavy rain and opportunistic rodents. You will need to drill a specific series of small, quarter-inch holes around the upper rim. These precisely sized holes allow the native adult black soldier flies to enter the bucket and lay their eggs without letting in unwanted pests. Once the colony is established, this single container acts as an unstoppable biological engine, converting your discarded household waste into premium, high-fat poultry nutrition that completely replaces the need for expensive commercial soy or fish meal. The biggest mistake people make during this stage is placing the bucket out in direct, baking sunlight. These dense clusters of larvae are incredibly active and generate a tremendous amount of their own metabolic heat as they consume waste. If the ambient temperature inside the bucket exceeds 100 degrees Fahrenheit, the entire colony will rapidly overheat and collapse, leaving you with a putrid mess instead of a thriving food source. Always position your bioreactor securely in a shaded, well-ventilated corner of your yard. Once your bucket is securely positioned in the shade, step 4 is learning how to properly fuel the system with your daily kitchen scraps. Black soldier fly larvae are notoriously voracious eaters, biologically capable of consuming up to twice their own body weight in a single day. You can toss in practically any organic waste your household produces, including heavy fruit peels, fibrous vegetable trimmings, leftover coffee grounds, and even meat scraps or dairy products, which traditional backyard compost piles simply cannot handle safely. You just need to open the lid and dump in roughly 1 to 2 pounds of scraps every couple of days, depending entirely on the active size of your colony. Before we move on to how you actually harvest these grubs, I am really curious. Has anyone here actually seen a time-lapse of black soldier fly larvae devouring a whole pumpkin? Let me know in the comments below, because it is terrifyingly fast and incredibly fascinating to watch. By feeding them your everyday household waste, you are actively diverting heavy, rotting organic matter away from the local municipal landfill and transforming it directly into high-grade poultry feed. A common mistake here is overloading the bucket with too much wet material all at once, like dumping an entire watermelon rind inside without adding any dry carbon to balance the mixture. If the moisture level spikes too high, the internal environment becomes anaerobic and starts to smell incredibly foul, which drives the adult breeding flies away. Always add a handful of dry wood shavings or shredded cardboard when adding wet fruit. Now that you have thousands of fat, protein-rich grubs actively breaking down your kitchen waste, step 5 is building the 30-degree auto-harvesting ramp. You absolutely do not want to spend your early mornings digging through wet compost to pick out bugs by hand. Fortunately, black soldier fly larvae possess a highly unique biological trait. Right before they reach the stage where they pupate into adult flies, their digestive tracts empty and they instinctively seek higher, drier ground to burrow. You can easily exploit this predictable natural behavior by installing a piece of PVC pipe or a heavily textured piece of wood inside the bucket, angled precisely at 30 degrees, leading up to a dedicated exit hole near the upper rim. You then place a small collection jug or rig a PVC drop tube right outside that exit hole, routing it directly into the chicken's feeding trough below. This creates a completely automated, gravity-fed harvesting system. As the larvae mature each day, they will voluntarily crawl up the ramp, drop out of the bucket, and deliver themselves directly to your waiting flock. You get a steady, reliable daily trickle of free, premium protein without lifting a single finger. The biggest mistake here is making the internal ramp either too steep or completely smooth. If the incline angle exceeds 45 degrees, or if you use perfectly smooth PVC without applying any grip, the larvae will simply slide backward into the wet compost and never exit the system. Make sure you deeply score the plastic or glue coarse sand to the surface to guarantee sufficient traction. Now that the chickens are consistently fully fed on free daily protein and fresh grass, we need to carefully manage what they leave behind in the field. Step 6 is implementing the nitrogen-rich trailing protocol. As you manually drag the mobile tractor its required 2 to 3 meters forward every single morning, your flock deposits a highly concentrated, perfectly distributed layer of raw droppings directly onto the pasture. Unlike dense, hot cow or horse manure that requires months of heavy turning and high-temperature curing in a pile before it can safely touch a plant, poultry waste functions beautifully when spread thinly over living grass. By pulling the tractor in a strict, systematic, linear grid pattern across your entire yard, you are essentially operating an automated biological fertilization engine. The birds actively distribute an ideal, steady ratio of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium right into the upper topsoil. Within exactly 14 to 21 days of the tractor passing over a specific spot, you will witness a massive explosion of thick, dark green pasture grass returning in its wake. This relentless daily movement completely eliminates any need to purchase expensive, synthetic yard fertilizers, turning routine waste management into rapid, large-scale soil regeneration. However, this natural fertilization process requires absolute physical discipline. The biggest mistake beginners make during this trailing phase is leaving the tractor stationary in one spot for more than 48 hours, usually because it is raining heavily or they simply feel unmotivated. If you delay the rotation, the concentrated nitrogen load rapidly becomes overwhelmingly toxic. It will chemically burn the delicate grass roots, completely destroying the vital microbial life in the topsoil and leaving behind a barren, compacted dirt patch that will realistically take an entire growing season to naturally recover. You absolutely must keep the system moving forward. Keeping the tractor moving works flawlessly during the warm summer, but what happens when the ground freezes hard? Step 7 is the deep winter hack, and this is the precise strategy that will completely eliminate your commercial feed bill year-round. The obvious flaw everyone immediately points out is that black soldier flies are natively a tropical insect species. When the ambient temperature drops below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, the adult breeding flies die off, the larvae completely stop moving, and most backyard keepers simply give up, resigning themselves to buying expensive bags of grain until spring. But you do not have to accept that limitation. The ultimate secret here is utilizing a highly effective thermal preservation strategy. During the peak summer months, when your bioreactor is massively overproducing, you simply harvest the excess grubs and place them in a passive solar dehydrator for roughly 24 to 48 hours. This creates a massive, completely free stockpile of dried, shelf-stable protein for January and February. Furthermore, to keep a live breeding colony surviving through the deep freeze, you must transition your primary bucket into a heavily insulated thermal compost system. By burying the core reactor within a thick 12 to 18-inch layer of actively decomposing wood chips and green organic matter, the internal temperature stays safely locked at a cozy 70 degrees, even when there is heavy snow actively falling on the ground outside. The absolute fatal mistake here is leaving your primary bucket fully exposed to the ambient winter air without building sufficient thermal mass around it. If you allow the internal core temperature to drop below freezing for even a single night, the system turns to solid ice, the entire colony perishes instantly, and your perfectly designed closed-loop food chain is entirely broken until the following May. When you take a step back and truly look at what we have actually built here today, you quickly realize this is not simply a random list of weekend gardening chores. It is a highly optimized, fully integrated biological machine. Instead of viewing these 7 steps as isolated tasks, you need to visualize exactly how energy seamlessly flows through this entire closed-loop ecosystem. You start the cycle by taking heavy, rotting kitchen scraps that would otherwise end up decaying in a municipal landfill, and you dump them directly into your shaded 5-gallon Black Soldier Fly bioreactor. Those incredibly efficient larvae rapidly convert that raw household waste into premium, high-fat animal protein. Then, thanks to the precise 30-degree auto-harvesting ramp you installed, those mature grubs literally drop themselves directly into the mouths of your waiting flock. Your highly active foraging heritage breed chickens vigorously consume both those fresh insects and the natural pasture weed seeds inside the 2x3 meter mobile tractor. As the flock digests that completely free, nutrient-dense diet, they instantly deposit highly concentrated, nitrogen-rich manure directly back onto the topsoil as you routinely pull the structure forward every single morning. That perfectly distributed layer of natural fertilizer rapidly supercharges the microscopic root systems below ground, causing thick, dark green grass to explosively grow back in its wake. That regenerated pasture then sits perfectly healthy, eagerly waiting for the tractor to eventually make its next rotational pass. You have successfully replaced an expensive $25 bag of commercial feed with an unstoppable, self-sustaining cycle of entirely free energy. If building resilient, independent agricultural systems exactly like this excites you, hit subscribe. It gives me the exact motivation I really need to film the actual step-by-step blueprint of my tractor next week. Are you going to start by building the tractor or the maggot bucket first? Let me know down below in the comments.